Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. I am, yes, back in my office here. Going to go ahead and take another look here at Bitcoin, helping understand really what's going to happen next. We're going to take a look at a few features, traditional markets, as well as some data here from HyblockCapital. I've actually got a recent affiliation and partnership with them, so be sure to kind of reference this out. This is actually very important stuff. I'll be bringing some of these features to my community in the near future, but for now, we'll go ahead and take a quick peek at liquidation levels and positions that are open and effectively some liquidation levels that really are important to note. Okay, so we'll take a look at that and much more. And obviously, you want to keep in mind too that markets right now are doing poorly for Bitcoin, right? So standard markets in crypto are doing bad, but traditional markets, however, are doing fairly well. So why is there a disconnect there? Well, a lot of it has to do with fear, uncertainty, and doubt, right? We've got this Coinbase to suspend Binance USD, basically BUSD, right? It's a stable coin traded on Coinbase. Now, Coinbase takes over 50%. What is it? I think it's over 50% of market shares in the U.S. Okay, so we got 53% here, essentially showing us that Coinbase has an effective edge in the United States, and that really has a big impact here as well. So keep that in mind. A lot of this stuff is kind of working into the mix here. So when stuff like that occurs, traditional markets could still go up while Bitcoin goes down. That's essentially what we're seeing here. So again, all cool stuff here that kind of factors in. I say it's cool not because your portfolios are down. Mine is too, obviously. But on the same accord, it's okay because we need to understand what goes into it. And essentially, there's a lot of little facets of cryptocurrency that you may not see on the surface. Okay. What we're going to look at here, of course, is some, big picture stuff, obviously, as we've already kind of looked at, but more importantly, too, helping understand where this might go next, because we are holding pretty strong at a support level, and I think that's awesome to see. We're holding at about 23,200, as I kind of have been expecting with these candle wicks down over the weekend. I think we're still going to be able to hold here. But again, that fear, uncertainty, and doubt needs to subside, and things need to calm down before we can see any growth. Now, once again, overall sense here is that we are moving down. We need to acknowledge that. But generally speaking, there is a good chance we could see a recovery, at least to the 24,000 mark. Is that a guarantee? No, there's no guarantees in cryptocurrency. But one thing I can guarantee you is that if you want to become a better trader, you can go ahead and reference my website here and check it out. See if you would like to essentially join in my signals. We took some nice profits here recently, actually through my Discord. Actually, more so through my Telegram, of course, because I have automated signals sent through there. But you can see those on my Discord here, where we had our nice 53% profit from Ethereum over the weekend in 2 days. Okay, so again, to me, waiting 2.5 days for something like that, even waiting a week for some kind of profits like that is worthwhile. And those are things that I kind of bring to my community. We're also going to have roundtable discussions coming up here soon again, and that is definitely a feature coming to back to our community, because that's what we've grown on, right? We want to learn and grow together. That's the whole concept. But if you want to become a better trader, of course, get with some of our sponsors here. We're sponsored with a lot of different exchanges. They all have specific benefits. Be sure to reference our sponsor page on the website just so you can get some discounts and some benefits of joining, because a lot of them have sign-on membership bonuses, and in this case here with BitGet, $4,000 prize pool monthly. Fantastic stuff there. So again, check that out in your own time. So let's touch on this HyblockCapital stuff here first of all, so you can kind of understand generally what this means, because I know these are just kind of graphs and charts, but they're all fairly relevant in a lot of ways. So this is essentially a liquidation heat map telling us all liquidation levels in the last week. Okay, so this is roughly 1 week of data. We can see a lot of liquidations are occurring right at the level here at about 24,600. So that tells us in a lot of ways that is a strong resistance level. Okay, so again, getting past 25,000 seems to be fairly unrealistic at this point, because there's a lot of resistance there. In other words, there's a lot of selling pressure when we hit those points. Okay, so it's also reflected here as well on these net long positions here. In fact, why don't we go ahead and start with shorts and kind of see what that looks like. So when it comes to short positions, right, when you have support and resistance zones, you need to understand where those are at. Now, while we can see that based on volume in a lot of cases on the charts, this is kind of the back end stuff here that kind of tells us that we have a lot of short positions right here available at about 23,400. Okay, so 23.4 is essentially a resistance zone. Okay, now that's as of recent here, right? Keep in mind this is only the last 12 hours, but generally speaking, that's a resistance area there. So if the price hits that level, we can expect some resistance, but we could also expect a short squeeze to occur if we break through that plane. So to me, a closure in the range that we're at right now, 23.2 to 23.5 would be just fine. Continue to work away at those resistance levels and continue to push through. Okay. We can also see kind of an inverse scenario here with longs, whereas there's a lot of longs positioned here in the level of about 23,350. That basically means that they're underwater for the moment and they're expecting the price to come up. So we have a lot more longs than shorts at this point, which is a common characteristic, but it's still something that's relevant to note. Okay, so that is something there as well, and obviously we have liquidation levels here too, kind of showing us here in the most recent past. We can see that there are some levels here, right up here at about, what is that, 24,500. No surprise, we've got some liquidations there too. So in truth, you can see shorts are coming through here in this overall circumstance, where you can see that there's a lot more shorts in the last 5 trading days than there are long positions. So in a lot of ways, that's positive here in the overall sense of the price that should continue sideways. Okay, so again, just some stuff there. And keep in mind, I'm working with HyblockCapital to bring that to our community through our Discord, so we can have some features to be able to see those things live as they happen. Because there's some API bots that we can work with. I'm just kind of negotiating those terms here and kind of seeing where we're at there. But they do offer a discount in my Discord, so if you want to check that out and you want to consider using it, there's a discount code in there for you if you'd like. All right. So here's the thing with Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and talk about the daily and work our way down. We've already acknowledged that we're below key level resistances on the weekly and monthly. Okay, so we're getting rejected by 50 on the RSI on the monthly and 50 on the moving average essentially for the weekly. So that hasn't changed. We're also holding above 50 on the RSI on the daily. That to me is fairly important. That's probably one of my favorite indicators in the general sense here, where we can see the volume is increasing and we're also maintaining at that support. That tells us we have a lot more support than we originally thought at 23,200. Key Fibonacci retracement level at 0.618 for the win. Okay, again, I know it wicked down over the weekend. Hopefully you didn't get liquidated, but that is essentially how it works. Those are liquidation hunts and that happens all the time. That said, we can see we're still diverging on the moving average convergence divergence here, so the overall momentum is still down. You need to acknowledge that. We are pushing down fairly strong, but if we can continue to hold here for a little while, we could very well see something like this here, where the price action continues to make a higher high. There's a great chance of that if we can hold this level. Again, breaking through that 23,500 mark would be a big step in the right direction, get those shorts liquidated, and to push the price and run towards that 24.5 mark. Again, a lot of resistance above us, we've already seen that, but generally speaking, that's what we're looking at here. Furthermore, as well, if we're looking at the 4-hour, hold on before we do that, let's look at the moving averages. We're trending right at the 20-day SMA and still above the 50. Keep that in mind, those are positive signs. So the daily here, albeit MACD is telling us it wants to come down further, we got some good support levels we've already noticed and recognized, and a lot of longs at this current price point with some shorts leverage just above. I think we're going to see a short squeeze here in the relative near future. Very well could happen. So keep that in mind. But when it comes to the 4-hour, we're kind of in between all moving averages, so that's usually a safety net. That's a good thing in most cases. We are getting rejected by 50 on the RSI, which is unfortunate, but not super impactful because, again, smaller time frames provide less support and resistance as far as strength is concerned. We are still converging on the MACD, but we're starting to plateau, telling us we're losing that momentum. So there's a great chance if we cannot make a higher low and a higher high consistently here, we could see a further downside. So we are looking for in this next increase, just say the price were to retrace and come back up here, it needs to break past this plane here. Okay, so again, the 23,600, 700 mark is an important place to break through and stay above if we want to have any hope in continuing higher. If we continue to get rejected, this candlestick like this is not great. It's going to push us down further. Again, still remains to be seen. We're still not there yet. All right, so that's essentially what we're looking at there. Taking a look at the hourly here, we can kind of see, and I'm fairly confident we're going to be above, which we are. Let's go ahead and take a look here. We're going to enable some of these fun indicators. If you're not familiar with it, be sure to check out my Ichimoku Cloud videos that I have on my YouTube channel. Feel free to search for that. But generally speaking, when you see these conversion lines in the baseline, they really help us understand momentum, right? So the conversion line and the baseline are intersecting, telling us we've lost that momentum to the upside. Big surprise with a dip like this, right? But we are above the cloud officially, still holding and maintaining above upper and lower lead on the cloud itself, and that's fantastic. So that's a very positive sign. Only thing that isn't fantastic is, of course, the lagging span's kind of intersecting with the price action. It'll soon be somewhere in this range here, which does imply that you don't want to take a long or a short position, okay? If you have a long position open right now, you may want to consider leaving it open, but on the same accord, you may want to consider taking profit. That's the great thing about the cloud. It really helps you understand confirmation. The confirmation we have here is that being above support and resistance level, so that's great. But we don't have that. We've lost that momentum, and we've kind of have a state of indecision. When the price goes sideways for so long, the cloud becomes less relevant. In this case, it's still relevant in the sense that we're above and beyond that upper and lower lead, but on the same accord, there's other indications here telling us that if you haven't taken profit, you probably should. Okay. Again, easier said than done now that we're here. I recognize it's probably too late to take profits if you've, depending on when you got in, you might be in the red for the moment, but it's okay to continue to hold is basically what it's telling us. But again, it wouldn't hurt to take some profit if you have that potential, okay? Because again, the whole point of trading is to be profitable, right? If you never take profits, are you ever truly profitable? It's the same concept as, a tree falling in the woods. If no one hears it, did it really fall? I mean, in truth, the answer is yes, right? Because it's happened. But in this case, is it really all that relevant? I don't know. It's again, that's a little mind boggler there. Feel free to use your own logic on that one. But generally speaking here, when it comes to trading, we need to look for confirmation, right? And we don't have that full-on confirmation that a long position is viable. We're having a lot of conflicting timeframes conflicting information on different timeframes. So to me, there's no definitive direction here. While I'm loving the fact that we're holding above that support level, I do not like that there's a lot of shorts leverage just above the current price point right now. It tells us the overall sentiment is expecting further downside, which is all well and good. They're not the market movers, but for the most part, that does have an influence. Okay, again, little things to think about. But either way, here at this point, I would say no trade is a good trade at the current moment. But if I were to just slightly lean in one direction or the other, I would say we have more potential for, I would say, upside as long as X, Y, and Z occurs, right? And that X, Y, and Z is really just staying above 50 on the RSI for starters, right? Holding this level. If we can go sideways for a little bit longer and up, we'll have a bullish convergence on the RSI, and we'll be looking pretty good. But honestly, the hourly tells us we've lost some momentum with that little reset button that was hit this morning. And in all reality, we need to wait for that fear, uncertainty, and doubt to subside. But the fact that we're maintaining this price point with that fear, uncertainty, and doubt, especially with the U.S. markets, such as Coinbase not listing BUSD or not, allowing that trading pair to be traded for the moment, it's a fairly big deal. We need to let that subside. So you let me know what you think. Feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear your feedback. If you want to become a better trader, of course, as per usual, cryptocash.tech. Look forward to working with you. And once again, we're planning to start doing our roundtable discussions here moving forward every other Wednesday to align with FOMC meetings to ensure we can kind of watch that together. And the goal is to eventually have that streamed live so we can all kind of have that opportunity. So you can go back and watch it later if you need to. All right. Thanks again. Hope you have a great rest of the day. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.